Aloha, my deal makers.
Hello, hello. How's it going? Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Aloha, right? Happy St. Patrick's Day. We've all got our green on. It's good to see everybody back here. I know I'm sunburnt underneath the green. I'm sharing some red here. So thanks, Timothy. Welcome back to from Hawaii, and welcome back to the mainland for Jay and I. And Alex still staying behind out there, so that's always awesome. Guys, if you are just
Someone needs
joining into the chat, we'll get things started here in a minute. Please
someone
go
needs
ahead
to
and
do
use
the
that
tough
chat
job of living in
function out here
Hawaii.
below us and let us know your name and your Instagram handle and where it is you're tuning in from. All right.
Yes, definitely get some sun back here. I know we sprung forward over here in LA, so we get extra sunlight, which is wonderful.
Awesome. How was your guys' plane flight? Everything okay?
It's great.
We made it back nice and easy, no problems. I know on the way in there was a little bit of a storm when Jay and I landed. It was flooding in Maui and a little bit of turbulence on the landing, but pretty nice to be able to get safely back here to the mainland, and excited to be back here at work. So again, welcome guys to another week of Ask Alex. Really excited to be back here with you guys today. We're going to be talking about networking. Again, I know a lot of us in this room are from different places. So one of the easiest ways to network is with people in your local area. So again, if you don't mind, use that chat feature right down here below and go ahead and let us know where it is that you're tuning in from and where we can find you. Where can we network with you after this webinar? If I want to connect and touch base, what's the easiest way for me to do that? So networking, that's what we're talking about today, guys. And before we do, just want to give you guys, a quick little update on our trip from Hawaii, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but the people coming into Hawaii, as far as the airport, when you're coming in, they're all excited. They're hitting the island. And then I don't know if you noticed the sad faces at the airport when people leaving Hawaii. At least I've seen it. Whenever I'm leaving Hawaii, I do notice people in line have a different mood than the people coming in than the people going out. Did you guys notice that?
Yes,
I
I was
noticed it on
definitely one
Jay's
of them.
face.
Yes, I almost pulled a Brit and I wanted to stay, but got to
Right.
get back to LA. So
All right, you guys. Well, we got people tuning in. Thanks for coming in, you guys. Again, I appreciate your time. We're going to be covering the importance of networking. I'm excited about this subject because it's near and dear to my heart. And just quick update: team's back in LA. We're still here in Hawaii. Me and the team that I have here, we're getting after it. We had a fantastic mastermind last a week. Well, I was a part of a mastermind. I was invited back to the Brandon Turner, Tall Yarber mastermind last week. Got a chance to deepen my relationships with some of these rock star people across the country, just crushing it in different asset classes and different businesses. I like to say, and I very proudly will say that I'm the smallest fish in the room. I'm the little fish, and I'm totally cool with that. Because if you're not in rooms that intimidate you like that, then you're not networking enough. So definitely want to stress that. Also, Will got to meet one of his big idols, someone he looks up to in the business, Jimmy Daynard, up there in the Pacific Northwest. I know that also we got to see Leica. Leica was somebody that introduced Jay to me, that eventually now Jay has been on the team. And so having this big network has helped out, bringing team members also to us as well. So that's another example of how important networking is. And just so you guys know, we even got a day on the beach as a team, and then some of the attendees got to hang out. They got to meet more of the attendees of that mastermind, and then Brandon Turner came by and blessed us, and we got to just hang out with him for a little bit, and the team got to meet him, which was super exciting for me. We all look up to him and how much he's contributed through Bigger Pockets and through the podcast to all of us. And I wouldn't be here today without the Bigger Pockets podcast. So I'm a huge fan of Brandon, and fortunately get to spend some time with him, continue to learn from him and everything that his team was accomplishing with Open Door Capital. I mean, they're literally buying thousands of mobile home park pads across the nation, and it's really inspiring because as a team we're obviously scaling up as well. So that's kind of the update, guys. Excited about the project on Southgate. I think Southgate's moving along our flip there. We also did finish our flip, thankfully, in Lake Isabella. We flipped a mobile home park, not a mobile home park, a mobile home. And that one was a little bit of a headache, but it was very profitable. Took some time, but we got that one wrapped up. And then we're finally going to be listing our duplex flip next week. It's at the finish line. It's just been dragging on forever because of the city stressing us out. But the market is so hot that we're excited about getting down to market because it's going to be a very profitable deal as well. So onto the webinar, guys. Let's jump right in.
Yeah, and you know, again, thanks, Alex, for having us out there to Hawaii. It was a great team trip out there. You know, Jay and I are definitely thankful for the opportunity, and you know, again, like you mentioned, getting to meet some of the people that we really kind of look up to in terms of what they do. Like networking is something that you always stress. Social media is something you always stress, and seeing some of these guys out there in person, like a Jimmy Daynard with Heat and Daynard, their company that just does a massive amount of flips. You know, that's something that we're looking to aspire to, and systems that we're looking to replicate. And I know Jay on her end got to meet a couple of ladies that she also kind of looks up to in terms of her tasks, right?
Yes, I definitely did. You know, Boss Babes, all for a fan of it. I was happy to meet Leica, as Alex said, had introduced me to Alex, and that's how I am able to have this wonderful opportunity. So all thanks to her. Got to meet investor girl Britt, and also Cara. She does Beckham houses. She does designs. So it was just a wonderful time, and truly grateful and thankful. So, and I got a great tan too. So.
And you know, again, that's awesome networking, but it also really kind of correlates back to what you do, Jay. You know, you kind of are helping out with the project management and managing that on the Southgate flips and our other flips. And so, you know, getting to meet some of these other women that are out there also doing the construction side of things and doing the design side of things, you know, that's just really awesome for you to be able to meet and see some of those people. And you know, again, thank you, Alex, for getting us out there. So without further ado, let's dive into some questions here and talk some networking. You know, the biggest one, and we kind of already talked about it, Alex, is, you know, how are you specifically using social media to network?
Great question. So, as you guys all know by now, hopefully you all know by now, social media is not going away. It's a powerful tool, and we have to use it a lot more now because of the pandemic and not being able to network in the same fashion. But I want to just give a couple examples of how powerful it's been for me across my career here in real estate investing. One classic example was when I was working for my first mentor. I was working as an inside salesperson. I was getting a cold calling 6, 8 hours a day, just getting after it. And after I started getting consistently one deal a month for him, just started sharing it on Facebook, just letting people know, hey, I'm working on this real estate investing now. I've been, locking up some deals. And so one of the guys that got attracted to me that I had, offered me a job in the past. We had stayed connected on Facebook, and I remember him. He ended up reaching out to me after about, like, I want to say close to the end of that first year, and he's like, "Hey, I got this opportunity. We're going to be hiring acquisitions people here at our firm," and they were a much bigger company. So just because I was out there sharing the journey, sharing what I was working on Facebook, he reached out to me, and that ended up turning into a fantastic opportunity because I got a better compensation package. I had more responsibilities, so I got to learn more. I was part of a bigger company, and just learned a lot more of the processes because they were flipping like over 150 houses annually. So it was like I got drafted by a major league team, and I was just in the minor leagues, right? So it was really, I wouldn't have got that opportunity if I wasn't sharing and then connecting with people in my network through Facebook. So that was a one big example. That opportunity would never have developed if I had not been posting consistently what I was working on. And then the other example is about a year and a half into the journey, I started posting more on Instagram. And then one of my first mentees reached out to me, said he was going to be selling a property and that he wanted to team up with me and partner up on some deals. I hadn't done that yet. It was still a little bit new for me. I was just kind of transitioning to using Instagram a lot more. And so I kept an open mind for that, kept just in touch. And then sure enough, a couple months later, he reaches out and says, "Hey, I sold my property. I'm ready to partner on a deal with you." At the time, I was still working for the second company, but we started doing some marketing. We started doing some stuff on the side there, and we got an opportunity, and we ended up partnering up on 2 deals, actually 3 deals in that like 6 months of period of time, which we kind of went 50-50 on. And we knocked out the park on all 3 of those deals. And to this day, we're still good friends, and he's out there crushing it as well. But I would never have met him if I hadn't been sharing, the journey as well on. But again, I was sharing stuff that I was working on. It wasn't just posting stuff to post stuff. And then, people got attracted to me. They saw I was working on doing things, and then we just ended up collaborating through that interaction, through that networking. So I think those are, just 2 powerful examples of how you can use social media to attract people to you, and then you end up working with them, on some very profitable projects. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know a quote which makes me think we use a lot ourselves. Network is your net worth. So one thing I could ask is like, what are some really good skills or advice you could do to be a good networker?
Well, when it comes to like in-person networking, I think we've all been there, right? Where there's somebody in the room that's a little bit socially awkward. And I get it because I'm a little bit more extroverted. So someone like myself I get energy from talking to people and from having conversations. I mean, specifically about real estate though, or opportunities. I don't want to just talk about, stuff that's just not that important. But, like I think you have to use social intelligence or develop that social intelligence as a skill, because we've all been there, and it's just weird when somebody just doesn't understand the context of like the interaction, and they're just awkward, and then you're not able to build relationships with when you're not aware of the context of interactions. And it is a skill. You got to build it up. So I definitely recommend you guys work on that. And then, because also people can tell when you just want something from them, and if you go into interactions with this kind of type of energy, it's just going to be a turnoff to most people. So just make sure that you work on that social intelligence. And then part of that is just having positive, enthusiastic energy. Like nobody really wants to be around somebody that just has this low energy, like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, people want to be around other people that are passionate, that are, really hyped up and, energized about working on something. Now, you don't have to be, all over the place and bouncing off the walls, but just having that good positive energy goes a really long way when it comes to networking.
Couldn't agree more, Alex. I mean, like you said, if you are doing it socially on social media, it's one thing, but when you're out there in person, you do need to be socially aware of how you're engaging and how you're interacting, and just some of your kind of verbal and nonverbal cues. They often talk about communication. It's not all verbal. A lot of it is your demeanor, your tone, and your verbal kind of and physical interactions with people. So something to keep in mind there. I'm going to launch a quick.
Can I add something real quick, Will?
Yeah.
I think I want to add that part of what makes me a good networker is being present, and part of being present and just being there in the moment is meditation. So I think meditations are very strong because when you're around people, you're staring someone in the eye, you're having a deep conversation, it's easy to kind of get distracted. So I just want to stress that, meditation can sometimes just ground you, and allows you to be a little bit more present with the people that you're around, because everybody has different energy. And so you got to be able to just be there and be able to interact with someone in a much more present state.
Yeah, and you got to be in the moment, and if you're not present, somebody can sniff that out pretty easily. So, guys, I want to drop a quick poll here for you guys, just real quick, get an idea from the room where people are currently doing their networking. So if you're, networking a lot on Instagram, or if you're on Facebook or Bigger Pockets, this is a multiple choice. So if you're doing multiple of them, let us know. I'd expect to see a good amount of people here on Instagram and Bigger Pockets, maybe some local RIAs and some meetups. We have hosted a couple of meetups here with the Ask Alex community, and we're looking to do a couple more here in the future as we do get a little bit more opened up and everybody kind of gets that vaccine rolled out. But again, just want to get an idea of where people are currently doing their networking. And Alex, for people that aren't doing networking, how do you start a conversation? Like if you're just getting started and just trying to get, scratch that surface of networking, what's the easiest way to start?
I think that one very important thing is to master the art of asking thought-provoking questions, things that will get you into some type of dialogue with people. Because once you get that, past the hey, how are you, who are you type of phase, you need to get into a meaningful conversation. And how are you going to do that if you're not purposely asking questions that can elicit some type of response that's going to be something that you could conversate about. So, for example, I like to use certain questions like, hey, so what's your biggest challenge right now? That way I could find out what their problems are and really what their challenges are. And maybe somebody in my network has an answer to that, or maybe there's somebody I need to introduce them to. So I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about asking them what's going on in their life, um, and just getting past the pleasantries, because to really build relationships with people, you need to get into meaningful conversations and be able to find a way to work together in some type of mutually beneficial way. And it's hard to do that unless you're asking, proactively some great questions. So that's always my desire. I go into conversations trying to find out, hey, what's going on with you? What's your biggest challenge? But I also like to ask what's working for you. Hey, what do you got going on? And people that are taking action that you want to network with, they got a lot going on. So find out what's working for them, and then let them talk, because I find a lot of people just want to just state what they're working on without first finding out what somebody else is. And then it just allows you to come from a place of like, maybe there is something I can do to help this person. And then it's just a law of reciprocity. If you're thinking that way, eventually people are going to ask you, oh, what do you got going on? What's your challenge? What's working for you? And then you'll get your turn. And then that's a really meaningful, deep dialogue conversation that can go somewhere, compared to just real surface. Hey, what do you? Oh, I work on a couple of flips. Okay, what do you got working on? Just going a little bit deeper. But you need to be asking these questions and thinking about these questions in advance. And that's an art. That's a skill too. That's something that you need to work on, that I've worked
Yeah,
on for many years as well. That's very helpful in those conversations.
that's
You have
really great,
2
Alex.
ears and one mouth for a reason, right?
Mhm.
Yes, I could not agree more. I hope you guys are taking notes because, during these times we have been socially distanced and, we are doing this webinar. So we are meeting, through, COVID times. And with that said, sometimes with what I met Alex, what I loved about him so much in the beginning, he would ask me genuinely, like, how are you? How are you doing? And he would ask, what's your biggest challenge? And I think that's how we've gotten so far, because in our team, because the people on our network are carrying genuine people. And that obviously has gone to show how far we've come, because it's not, quid pro quo, this for that. It's, I care about you as a person, let's do this together and go a long way. And I think building those connections in this network, the vibe of a tribe is a lot stronger than, just a non, dry relationship when it comes to business. So with that said, moving forward, with
Can I
COVID
add? Can I
times,
add real quick to that, Jay? I think that's a great
yeah,
point, because
thank
sometimes you can
you.
help someone with something in their life. It has nothing to do with real estate, and that's the whole point of asking these questions. I had several
Yes,
people at the mastermind that saw
right.
that I'm in somewhat better shape than them, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing to work out?" So I'm giving them tips, tricks, what I'm
Yeah,
working on to stay in relatively decent shape. Or people ask about certain habits or routines, like, what do you got?
it
So
helps.
there's many areas that you might be able to help people. It might not be real estate, but if you're asking those challenges, and then think about it, if someone's talking to you about their personal challenge, like maybe with like, hey, they're having time spending, quality time with their family because they're working so much. And, these are things that, if you discuss those are going to build deeper bonds than just talking about just a transaction.
Right.
So
And it,
that's what I mean by the deep, meaningful dialogue. And so that's a great point, Jay, because we really got to find out, we're all human. We all got problems, up the yin yang. So just that little human element, I think, goes a long way.
and then also it can help better your work ethic. If you have family issues and you're like, thank you for, letting me say that, I actually feel better opening up. And if you don't start working out more and this and that, it'll really make your days with work and business, like, that'll show through. It's obvious if you're having a bad day or not. With that said, so moving forward, it is hard times, the COVID. I can't meet people, we're doing things on Zoom. How can I network better if I can't meet people in person?
Well, I think one big thing is just adapting to the new reality that we find ourselves in, right, guys, where we have to do this virtual meetings, and we're not able to meet in big groups anymore. It's not smart. And so it's really important that you guys adapt and start to use this technology. I mean, all of you are on Zoom right now, so you're figuring it out. But this is just an example of you need to be proactive to learn this tool, this technology of a virtual meeting. You got to be setting it up, not just joining the meetings. Have you set up a meeting before yourself? I mean, maybe you need to create your own little group within your area to start being that person, because that's why we did it, frankly, because we saw that, hey, there's not a lot of people doing this in Southern California. We feel like the conversation needs to be had. We feel like we have value that we can give to the industry or to the business of real estate investing within Southern California, because we're actively doing it. So we didn't see anything out there providing the value that we thought we could provide. So that's why we started this weekly webinar. And I think you guys could all do something similar within your areas as well of expertise. But it is just a tool that you guys need to get used to using. They've become a very important part of business. Right now I think we have had close to like 350 registrations. I think what are the numbers, Jay?
Yeah, it's amazing. I was just going to share. So we started this 15 weeks. We have now almost 400 registrants on this webinar, 344 in Zoom, over 40 to 50 people each week consistently. It's amazing seeing everyone each week. And our Facebook group, if you haven't joined, it's been growing so much. We have 77 people on there now. And it's just so great to stay connected, during these times, and, people all over Hawaii, here, East Coast, everywhere. So that just goes to show, that we're doing business everywhere, and it's just, the vibe of the tribe.
I think Jay's going to go ahead and put the Facebook group down in the chat right now. If you guys aren't a part of the Facebook group, definitely do recommend getting in there, share your stories, share your goals, let people in the group know what it is that you're looking for, because if you don't let people know what you're looking for, they don't know how to help you. And that's what Alex said, is be vocal, ask thought-provoking questions, and connect with other people in that group. There might be somebody there who doesn't have time but has money. There might be somebody that has money but doesn't have time. And there might be somebody that doesn't have either one of them, but they have a really good work ethic and are able to, really dedicate that a limited amount of time, but get the stuff done that you don't have the time to do. So please do use that Facebook group. Jay's going to go ahead and put that down there in the chat. You guys can all feel free to jump in there. I want to also point out that it's the people that are in that Facebook group that are being active. It's the people that are regularly attending the webinar that we have had out to our couple of very limited meetups that we've had. We've had, 2 very socially distant and very socially safe meetups with masks and hand sanitizer. And when we did do those meetups, it's usually those people that are the most active in the group that are able to come. If you were able to attend one of those meetups, go ahead and let us know in the chat what you thought of it, how you enjoyed it. It was a networking event. I got to meet you guys out there in person. So if you were able to attend either of those 2 meetups, go ahead and let us know in the chat what you thought of them. And in the meantime, Alex, wanted to know, does networking actually work for you?
Absolutely, guys. I mean, so I wanted to give you guys a quick story about one of the success stories that I had on networking. So about 2 years ago now, when I started my company, I got the opportunity to attend this mastermind here in Maui. And I remember thinking, not sure if I should come or not. I mean, it's not that I didn't want to, but I mean, it's $5,000 plus airfare, plus, stay here in Hawaii. I mean, it's $7,000 easy. And I had a couple flips that I was working on. And I mean, that was a significant amount to like invest for just like a 3-day event. But then when I realized like who was attending and who was throwing it and all that, I said yes. And so I attended the mastermind. I met these other 24, 25 rock stars in the business. And one of them was Ryan Pineda. He's an investor out of Vegas, doing over 100 deals a year. I mean, a lot of you probably know him. And so I met him there. And then after the mastermind, about 4 or 5 months later, he calls me up and said, "Hey, I got this random deal in LA. Can you check the ARV for me?" I said, "Sure, bro, I got you." So checked the ARV for him, ran the comps. And then I gave him my feedback on what I thought, the actual numbers were. And then he says, "Hey, we got it locked up at this price. We want to wholesale it at this price." And those numbers end up checking out for me. And so I said, "Yeah, let's do the deal." And so I bought a property, a flip that from Ryan Pineda. He actually, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying, he actually made $35,000 on that deal, but it matched all my numbers. And I thought, hey, I'm doing a deal with Ryan. I mean, that's great. And he was straight up with me too. He told me how much he was making compared to, other situations when you're buying from wholesalers, that might not be the case. So that deal ended up making my joint, because I did a joint venture on that deal with that mentee I mentioned earlier, and we ended up making a profit of close to $90,000 on that deal. 90,000. And then also my previous listing agent also double ended it and made $20,000. So really it was just a monster deal overall. But think about the return on investment there of not only getting to meet a bunch of people that you can look up to and that you can call on, but also getting transactions and deals and revenue from it. It's just icing on the cake. So just make sure that you guys understand that some stuff that you're going to network is going to be for free, these Zoom meetings, some of these other things. But at some point in time, once you've taken enough action, once you've done enough deals, like you got to pay to play. And it really pays off. So that's a classic example I want to share with you guys.
And I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's that massive action step. It's we've talked about it with our marketing efforts. If you pay money, you can expect to, receive a return as long as you really kind of plan that out and have a direction. If you just throw money at the wall, you're probably not going to hit more times than not. But if you do have a plan and you stick to that plan, you can really kind of see the results that are going to come from that. And so one thing I'm going to drop right now is another poll. We want to know here from the group, would you join an Alex Camacho mastermind? So we're going to go ahead and drop a poll here real quick. Would you join an Alex Camacho mastermind? Just want to know a quick yes, quick no, a quick what is a mastermind? And again, just Alex, for those that aren't sure, what is the mastermind and like, what do you expect when you go to these masterminds?
That's a fantastic question. I wanted to explain that too. A mastermind, although I'm not able to share exact details of the event that I just went to, in the sense what you're doing is you're getting a group of people at high level, usually, meaning they've all established themselves, they've all done some type of business enough to where they can show people and bring value, because it isn't like the typical event where you're just sitting there and being taught and just watching a presenter. No, it's a lot more engagement. So you break out into groups, you ask yourself very deep questions about your businesses, and also your challenges, just like we were talking a little bit earlier, but on a much deeper level. Like I left each day with my mind so mentally drained, and it wasn't because it was negative. It was just I was using my mind to engage with these people, to talk about their businesses, to talk about my business, and just talk about just stuff openly with some other people that can relate, because you need to be around other people that are kind of at your level or above, so that you can grow. It's just that saying of iron sharpens iron. So it's like some breakout groups. There's also activities, because these activities that you do, we went out on the boat, on the catamaran, and we're out there and just hanging out as human beings and friends and colleagues and people that we respect, and just having a good time and just talking about a variety of subjects of life and everything that's going on, and building those deep bonds, because inevitably you can help each other out in some way, whether that be an introduction or actually doing business together or lending each other money on deals, or it's all these connections that you can make. And so that's what the mastermind is all about. It's building this deep network. It's building these relationships and finding how we can help each other. And it's condensed into like 2-3 days. That's what the mastermind was that I just went to, but there's different ones as well. There's virtual masterminds. But these events usually cost some money, either a monthly for your monthly mastermind to be part of a group of people, or if you're going to a specific event. But I definitely think that if you're doing deals consistently, you should be going to a mastermind maybe at least once a year, or you should be forming your own, maybe within your trusted circle of people and people you respect. And it doesn't have to be in-person event. It can be virtual, but that's a mastermind. And it's like 1 + 1 = 5, or 2 + 2 = 20. Like it's that type of situation where I have no doubt in my mind that the bonds created and relationships created last week, or strength, some of them were created because I didn't know everybody, but because there was about 3 or 4 new attendees, but everybody else, I was just deepening my already existing solid relationship with them even more, find out how much they've grown. And it's inspiring to see other people after the event go out there and take action, because it holds you accountable. Like, hey man, I just went to this mastermind event 2 weeks ago and I see Johnny over there just killing it and executing the plan he said in the mastermind. And then you're going to go and be maybe a little bit more likely to do what you said you were going to do in that mastermind as well. So it's just so powerful in many different ways, but that's just a couple.
I can honestly attest to it because Alex was in it. And after these masterminds, I just felt his fuel on fire. And he's like, we got to do this, this, that. And so back in LA, we were ready to rock. And it's just so great. That energy is contagious. And, when the brains are turning, the gears are rolling and it's just amazing. So we definitely have some good momentum. Really happy to be back. And, it is the times that we're doing. I can honestly say from my experience, Leica, I was personally, people don't really know this story with myself, wanting to have a mentor for real estate. Been in, working this in LA on and off 15 years. And I wanted to go off on my own. And one of the mastermind attendees, Leica, she lives in Washington. I think I found her on the Bigger Pockets, and she actually referred me to Alex. And so she's like, I don't live in LA, Jay, but here's Alex. And that was, a few months ago. And I picked Alex and Will up from the airport. And, here we are now. And it's through networking and, reaching out and doing that. And, met Will as well. I think they came back from the Ryan Pineda mastermind. And it's just, this is so far we've, went to Hawaii and done all those things. So definitely put yourself out there. Never give up. Action is, a million times better. I know some people, have analysis paralysis, and definitely, put your foot forward out there and you can definitely see results in doing all of these things. So
Yeah.
And Alex, you spoke about the kind of the social intelligence earlier, and some of us just have it and some of us don't, and some of us have to kind of develop it. And for me, I kind of worked in nightlife and nightclubs before getting into real estate, and my current W-2 job is with the the NFL. And so I just by default kind of have had a lot of transactions and a lot of interactions with clients and understand that kind of skill set. But speaking specifically about real estate networking, I've seen a lot of success. Just our most recent deal that we took down up in Lancaster. Right, when you think of that deal right there, that's a networking deal. Like, I went and I took action. I took that step. I went and met with an agent. I saw a property. The property didn't fit, but I kept in touch with the agent, and the agent ended up, hitting me back up because I was so, professional and well prepared when I did see the first property, that when the second property came up that was on her radar, she said, hey, this is exactly what Will wanted. This is exactly what he described to me. Let me get in touch with him and see if he's going to be, ready to move forward on this. And, we were able to quickly kind of move forward and take that deal down. And even just, speaking of, getting on your radar, Alex, it was kind of taking those massive steps. Like when I, took those massive action steps and asked those questions that proved it, it wasn't like, hey, how would I go about doing this? It was, hey, I already did this, but I got stuck here. And so that's where it's like, okay, I know that you took action because I can tell you're hitting a roadblock. You're not just having a general question, just to get your foot in the door or get in the room. It's, hey, you have a targeted question, and it's something that you can answer, because it's, hey, how can I help you? What's my biggest challenge? And that's my biggest challenge. And you're able to help if you're in that room. So, networking, I think is really, really important. And, would love to pass it over to you, Alex, if you have any kind of, closing thoughts on networking.
Yes, I do. Well, I mean, my overall philosophy, my approach to networking has evolved, but now what I recommend to most people is that you do take some form of action, because I've noticed a clear difference from people that are getting after it and taking action, and the ones that are just kind of still, maybe they're just still in education mode, which is okay. Like, you're just getting informed. But then also I see a group of people that are networking just for networking's sake. Like, they have no real direction. There's like no real purpose. Like, okay, so well, what do you want to, like, what are your goals in this real estate investing thing? Well, I want to do a BRRRR, and I want to do, I want to syndicate. And I also think I, get some, flipping, if I'd be okay with the flip or two. I'm just like, they're just like all over the place. I'm like, I think you need to figure out what you want to do, because maybe you wouldn't want to be networking with me if I'm very good at flipping. That's what I specialize in. And then you're trying to do a bunch of BRRRRs. I can introduce you to someone, but if you don't even know what you want to do and just kind of just, in the ocean, right, in the boat with no sails, just kind of floating in the wind, like, you're just gonna go wherever. So I think it's very important to have some type of direction or purpose for networking, and you have a purpose when you're taking action. Because, like, say you're door knocking for 30 days, and then you have different questions than if you just thought, well, what if I door knock for 30 days? What would that look like? What's been your experience with door knocking? You're asking all these questions, but if you haven't really done it, you're not going to have the same type of questions. So I think that's very, very important. And then also, when you're networking, if you haven't really done much, you're not able to bring as much value to the interaction and the conversation and that relationship, which is okay again, but that's where you get into like asking better questions and then other stuff like that. Because if you're just going to sit there and just drain somebody of a bunch of information and you're not likely to do any really work or action behind it, like you're just really wasting everybody's time. And that's all we have, really. That's the most important thing that we have, which is people's time. So I've gotten better at like just being selective of the people I spend my time with or answering questions, because I can tell when someone's just like in their head and it's just all theory and they're not really going to take any action. And you know, and the other people stand out because they're asking different questions. When I met Will, he asked me a bunch of questions. I told him I give him recommendations. He went and took action. He sent me updates regularly, and then he come circle back around like every week or two, and then have other better questions, and then better suggestions and other stuff that we were working on consistently. And that's what made me see like, hey, this guy is an all-star. He is getting after, he's taking the action I told him to. And then that's how we ended up aligning together. So just have an approach, have a direction, have some type of overall goals when you start networking, because you don't want to just get people's business cards or just meet people just to meet people. You want to have a reason to. And yeah, that's my final thought on that.
And for us, sometimes we just do networking to get into a market. So when Jay and I kind of took over the Antelope Valley market, we said, hey, let's network with a couple of agents up here, and invite a couple of agents to come meet up, grab a cup of coffee. And this time it was COVID, so it was just, hey, can we do a virtual meetup, and can I send you a coffee voucher? Can I send you a Starbucks card just to introduce myself and have that virtual meetup with you? So again, kudos to everybody who is on this Zoom webinar right now. This is a form of networking. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and promote everybody into a panelist here and do a different spin on things. Next week, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do an open format style meeting where instead of Alex, Jay, and myself being on here, everybody's going to be on here from the minute we get in. So everybody's going to be on screen. Everybody's going to have their cameras on. We want you guys to dress the part, look ready to go, look ready to meet people. We're going to be doing live networking.
Will, let me make one more point before we kind of start going to question and answers. Another thing that comes to mind is, that you only have one chance to make a first impression. And so that is also really important, because when you're meeting a real estate agent for the first time on a potential opportunity, when you're meeting a seller for the first time on a potential opportunity, when you're meeting a wholesaler, somebody that could potentially get you a deal, making a solid impression. Like, nobody wants to give a great deal to somebody that's a douchebag or somebody that's just not you just don't get along. I mean, some of it is about the numbers, but a lot of it is about the impression you're making, whether or not people want to do business with you, especially with real estate transactions. Real estate transactions tend to be lengthy, right? They're like 30 days, 60 days. They take some time. So could you imagine yourself working with somebody that for 30, 60 days that is just difficult to work with? Probably not. And you're probably not going to want to give them a good deal. So I've always thought that as well to be the case, that if you make a great impression, you put your best foot forward in these high stake opportunities, like that's the whole key to potentially getting that deal. So make sure that you have your best, just best foot forward when you're networking in that aspect too.
And also, I have to say what Alex said also about, being stuck in the winds. I know personally myself a couple months ago, before I even got to meet Alex and be involved in this and talk to all these high level people, I didn't know exactly, what I was doing. I wanted to do this, but I have a million times more clarity as to what I want to do. So that's why we were asking about the mastermind, being around, talking to him, doing this on a daily, I have more clarity. And then also we still have the private sessions one-on-one. You can also do it with our team, Calendly. I did put it in the link. It is personal one-on-one time with Alex. If you're stuck on something, you don't really want to vocalize it. Some people are a little bit more introvert. That's totally okay. I know he does Mondays and Tuesdays for a couple hours a week. You can also message me personally, do the Facebook group, help each other grow. get past those hurdles. I always hear, you know, once you do the first one or second one, it's a lot easier, but getting past those things and, you know, finalizing, getting a really basic foundation as to what you want. I think the mastermind and talking to people that have had the experience and have done this a million times is a million times better than reading books and watching YouTube videos. So I just want to put that out there so we can go ahead and do the Q&A.
And guys, you know, what
Yeah.
we kind of do with this, and this will be again a kind of continuation over into next week as well. Next week we'll do this for this entire hour. Is we'll kind of start things off with just a needs, a good deeds, and wants. So if there's anything that you need, you know, go ahead and chime in right now. If it's like, you know, hey, I've taken massive action and I'm driving for dollars, but I got to this point and I need help figuring this out. If there's a good deed where you want to just share, like, you know, hey, you know, I'll shout out Rory right now for his good deed in our Facebook group that I'm going to share the link to right now in the chat. Rory again has found a couple of really incredible duplex opportunities and is continuing to share those in the Facebook group. Which is again just a really good deed that I wanted to shout him out for personally on that. And again, if there's anything that you want, you know, please let us know. If it's, hey, I want help with a script on cold calling. I want help making cold calls. I have the list, but I don't have enough time. Go ahead and feel free to chime in right now. We're going to go ahead and leave the room open and you know, let people kind of chime in and ask for help or give kudos where it's needed.
Let's not everybody chime in at once.
If you don't start, I'm gonna start calling on people.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Alex? How's it going? This is Timothy. I connected with you over Instagram. I think it was last week or maybe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you for doing that. I do feel that maybe I fell in that category of not being super listless, but I'm ready to take action. But you know, I'm just super excited to kind of be here. This is my first year, so I've been kind of going along a career trajectory path. And so now it's just a matter of time of taking the time to do it. I have all the information, and just like Jay said, you know, it's at a certain point you got to stop reading the books, podcasts, YouTube, and whatnot, and it's time to take action. So I've committed to do that at some point this year. Just kind of have a lot of moving parts, but now it's just the time. So just glad to be here. And I think what I told you the other day is that what really resonates with me is having a tribe and that communal aspect, and not just being about yourself, you know. So appreciate it.
Yeah, well, welcome to the tribe. Thank you, Timothy. I had a great conversation with you, and you know, just lean on the people here that are around you, because I mean, it's tough, man, to go out there and cold call or door knock or network, or all of it is challenging, but it's so worth it. And once you do it, you feel better because you're not just in your head, and then also you just have, again, you have new questions, you have new data, and then you can continue just pivot and make adjustments from there. But if you never get that new data, you never get that new experience, it's pretty hard to pivot, pretty hard to make those adjustments.
Yeah. So
hey, Timothy, what's your first action item going to be? What's your first big step that you're going to do? Are you going to make cold calls? Are you going to do door knocking? Or are you going to do, you know, what's your first big step going to be?
Yeah, so I have, you know, it's really just making offers. You know, I have several properties I've already kind of located. I haven't really gone to the list route or calls at this juncture, but I have, you know, I've connected with a lot of people. And so I definitely have my eye on several properties. And so now it's just, I've been working them. They're off market properties. So it's just kind of working those aspects essentially.
That's awesome, man. I'm stoked to hear that you're already analyzing deals and looking at numbers and have some properties in mind. You know, like you said, you have all the information. Now it's time to take action on that information. Making offers is the ultimate massive action move that you can take. That is it. You are putting in an offer a day. That is what you need to do to be successful in this. So let's go.
Let me call on Amari. Because Amari reached out to me on Instagram. He's trying to help out the team while we're in, and that was really admirable. So I appreciate you reaching out, trying to help out on our flip in Southgate while we're here in Hawaii. So what do you got going on, bro?
What's up, Alex? What's up, Tribe? How's it going? Just driving for dollars, sending postcards, I've been going down the rabbit hole with Ryan Dawson now. I was under the TTP kind of rabbit hole, but I think I'm gonna go towards the Ryan Dawson route, and I'm using Deal Machine, not as for postcards, but more for like putting homes on the list, and then I'm gonna export that list to PropStream, and then PropStream kind of filters your list, and it helps you. I guess it helps you able to see what homes are qualify for what you're looking for: high equity, negative equity, stuff like that. And then after that, I'm gonna send it to Ballpoint Marketing, and I think I'm gonna spend about $600-700 on that type of marketing in the city of Gardena. It's the city that I want to focus in right now.
Why Gardena? I'm curious.
Because worst case scenario, I would live in that property. So that would be one of my exit strategies. So I live in the city of La Mirada right now. I bought that property 5 years ago, and my family and I want to move to the South Bay, more to Gardena. So that's
Okay.
gonna be like my exit strategy.
Just keep
Worst case.
a couple things, Amari, I wanted you to keep in
Yeah.
mind on properties in Gardena. If they're in the city of Gardena, I don't know if you know this or not, but they're very, very strict when it comes to like rehabbing property. They're one of the
Okay.
toughest. They're one of the toughest cities to rehab property in, kind of like
Got it.
Compton and
Okay.
Azusa. Compton, Azusa,
Okay.
Gardena are some of the toughest properties to, just the city's very involved. You have to do like everything with the contractor. You have to do everything. Like it's very like hands-on with the city, and which causes
Got
a
it.
lot
No,
of
I did.
delays. Yeah. So just keep that in
Thank
mind. So yeah, and there is another part of Gardena closer to the 110 freeway that is not in the city. It's more it's in the city of LA or the county of LA. It's not in the city of Gardena. So keep that in mind. How many properties do you have in Deal Machine right now?
I have about 800 properties or so in the past 2 months.
Okay,
800
good,
properties.
good.
So I've sent out postcards, but I received bad reaction. I mean, bad feedback. A bunch of homeowners are mad that I'm taking pictures of their homes. I've tried cold calling. Then I did the batch skip tracing or batch leads.io. I did SMS blasting. I received a couple bad interactions with a member that kind of told me that they know a couple attorneys that are starving for the DTC, that would sue me, stuff like that. So I kind of,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that when you were talking about Ryan Dawson, because like I didn't pay for any of his stuff, but I get his emails, and he just had like that YouTube video about people getting sued for cold calling, and how like most people are on the do not call list now, and like you call the wrong people, then it could cost you a lot of money. So it scared me a little bit from trying to cold call people. I don't know. What's your thoughts on it, Alex?
A great question. I was right about to chime in on it. So here's the deal, guys. Bottom line is when we're contacting property owners directly like that, you are interrupting them. Now, what I attempt to do, and I've been sued before, or they try to sue me before, and you almost got to look at it like a cost of doing business. So if you're cold calling for say 3, 4, 5 months, you're bound to maybe come across something like that. That usually you have to settle out with them if they do go the full route, like $500 to like $1,500. But if you get a deal that's going to make you like 20, 30, 50, 100 grand, I mean, to me, again, it just makes sense financially, and just, you got to account for that possibility, but don't get like in the fearful mode either. Like, oh, don't be afraid to take action because something bad might happen. I mean, I might go walk across the street and get hit by a car if I'm not paying attention. So, bad things can happen, but as long as you prepare for something like that happen, then you can still take action, just knowing like, hey, I have a plan for that. Which is I might have to settle out with them, lowball them. You lowball them like, what do you want, bro? Okay, $500 to go away. And I literally just had a colleague of mine, somebody that's also in the Ryan Pineda coaching program. He had to do the same thing. And he was able to make the person go away with $200 or something like that. So you got these like professional litigators. It is what it is. They're like, just bottom feeders. And you just got to, think of it more as a cost of doing business, but don't let that prevent you from taking action though either.
got it. And I think I also need to, I guess, try to see where am I getting my advice from. I do understand Ryan Dawson owns Ballpoint Marketing. So in a way, he's kind of pushing his business. And then if I go down the TTP route, he sells courses on how to cold call. So I just got to, I guess, pick, what route I go down.
Yeah, good job though, Amari. Sounds like you're taking a lot of action. You're making adjustments. You know,
Trying
you
to
try different things.
trying.
I tried batch leads. It didn't work for me, but
Got it.
I don't tell people it doesn't work. It just didn't work for me.
Okay.
But I had a bit of a subpart, you know, not the 8-player team that I have now, that was working the leads. And so maybe that had something to do with it too. But great job on the action taking. What about you, Eliam? I know, or is it, I know you've been pretty active on social media. You're starting getting.
Yeah, it's Aleum. What's it called? So over this past conversation, I've been thinking like needs, wants, these and stuff. And overall, right now, I feel like I'm in an education mode where I'm constantly trying to find more and more information on what I want to do. Because, like I said before, I have no real estate background. My family's not in real estate, nothing. So it's like that one kid who's gonna enter some unknown world, and that's how I feel like. So I have this constant pressure on me where I'm like, well, what do I want to do? And then normally it's like, oh, you want to go into real estate, just become a real estate agent. But as I get to meet more and more people, I see there's investors, there's commercial property managers, there's commercial real estate, multifamily, duplexes, all that stuff. And I'm like, it's this whole world that I'm unraveling. And what I want is basically to find my niche, my niche where I could thrive in. So right now what I'm working on is just getting my real estate courses out of the way, basically build up that terminology, get that foundation, learn about the principles and laws and litigation, stuff like that, and develop from there. And where I feel like sometimes I need is just a mentor, you know, someone who knows more than me, and because my passion is strictly, it's honestly just learning. It's learning whatever. It's, you know, I found that from a young age, I was like in high school or at college, I'm like, I don't really like these classes. I like learning the things that interest me, whether it's real estate or sports or investing and stuff like that. So I just end up going in that rabbit hole. Sometimes I find myself that I'm not taking action. I'm just purely learning. So if I, you know, that accountability coach, you know, mentor, where they push you like, no, you have to take the next step. You have to take the leap and start working on the things you do. And for me, for this goal for this year or these next coming years is, at the end of the day, we're all going to end up buying a property, buying a house, because we're going to need to live in. And that's the thriving thing of real estate, is people need a house to live in. So for me, it's trying to do my first house hack. Last week, when you guys brought on Mika, we actually connected, and I took that action and I set up a call with him, like, hey, walk me through your, house hacking. Like, how'd you do it? Because I know he's in the same ballpark age as me. I'm like, how'd you do it? And I know it's uncommon, but once you build that circle of people who are doing the things you want to do, it's like, it's not that uncommon. It's people are doing it. It's depending on, who you surround yourself with. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, is just surround myself with like-minded people and just trying to learn as much and help in whatever shape or form I can.
Yeah, I have no problem with learning. Just make sure that you're learning through your actions as well, because the most valuable learning is experience. And when you're a little bit younger, you haven't been on the earth as long as somebody. I'm 39, so I've been on this earth, probably 20, close to 20 years more than you. So there's you can't bridge that gap. But if you take a lot of action, right, you're gonna be able to learn more off of your experiences, and you're doing both. So you're not just leaving it to let me read a book. It's like reading a book on swimming, or reading a book on how to ride a bike. Yeah, I mean, technically you'll know what you need to do to swim or to ride a bike or shoot a basketball. But until you actually go do that, I mean, you're still gonna have some blind spots, So
yeah, I couldn't help but think to myself, asking, what is your biggest challenge? And with that said, have a good answer and focus. And that's why I think, when you mentioned the mentorship, having Alex's advice and mentorship can help you narrow down your focus, because, you meet all these people. This person's doing burrs, this person's, house hacking, etc., wholesaling. Alex specifically does flips and has mastered that. So once you narrow that down and also have the advice, talk to him, discuss, do this mentorship program, and have that advice to have your exact answers, because you are younger and there's so many different things out there. So I definitely recommend you do that and have one-on-one calls with Alex to narrow that down, because once you have your answers, you can definitely move forward more laser with that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
So who has a big win from last week? I want to share. Come on.
Anyone?
Let's hear about it, Damien. I see you raising your hand.
Who's raising their hand?
All right, I'll tell you about my big win. So I went under contract with my first subject to deal, and so right on the purchase and sale agreement, what's the what is the line for the amount of cash is $0, and it's all in the terms. Is like I'm taking over the payments for the lifetime of the loan. So this is my first
Zero down.
Zero. Everything is zero. But I did give him,
baby. Let's go.
yep, definitely.
All right.
I did give him $50 for the
How'd you get the deal, Damien?
So I got the deal from so I gave a talk about being the bank in another group, and the woman who runs the group said, I told them too, was like I do, creative financing and stuff like that too, deals. So they're like, hey, my friend has this deal who's a wholesaler. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't know what to do with it. So he didn't even go on to contract with the guy. And when I first looked at it, I'm like, I think this is, could be a short sale, or it could be a subject to. And then I didn't even get it under contract. I got bashed by my friends for not getting under contract. So I went back and I got under contract for subject to and said, there's no meat on this, but your loan is awesome. And your loan payments are like $900 a month. But if you rehab it, Philadelphia Housing Authority pays $1,700 for a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. So, the cash flow is ridiculous on it. It's a great deal when you look at the cash flow, but when you run the numbers, it's not such a good deal. And I think, a lot of the 5 investors that saw it before me, like, weren't even interested. They can't, they're like, oh, there's not enough meat on the bone. I can't burr it. I can't flip it. I won't even be able to get a loan on it. And secondary construction loans too, I found only one person doing it, and they were at 17%. So I'm going to probably be doing the construction with credit cards and or the rehab with credit cards and just paying it down myself. So it was a pretty good win.
Good job, Damien.
Good for
Good job,
you.
man.
Damien,
See,
that's incredible, man.
if you guys are adding to your
That's
tool
awesome.
belt, right? You added to your tool belt, and now you're able to get this deal when other people just passed on it. So that's a great example, dude. Awesome.
And we've definitely, done the credit cards, the Home Depot rehabs, put it on that Home Depot credit card and pay that thing off. And, again, $0 into it. So congratulations again, Damien. That's incredible stuff.
All right, we only got a couple more minutes, guys. Who has another win they want to share so we could just end on a high note?
I'll share a quick win that I had last week.
Tyler from Colorado. Let's go.
Yeah, so I was making offers on multifamily, trying to look for buy and hold properties, and lost out on a multifamily offer, and then it was on a quad, and then moved on to the next offer, which was on a triplex. Got the triplex under contract, and then actually got a call from the realtor on the quad offering it to us because theirs fell through. So now I've got 7 doors under contract right now to hold. So,
Contracts.
What's that?
Contacts equal contracts.
That's right. You got to put it out there, and the more offers you make, and these were both off of the MLS in Denver, which is crazy competitive. Everyone says you can't find anything on the MLS, but super stoked. We're in the process. We actually got to go do an inspection on it right now, but in the process.
How are you going to fund the deals, Tyler? Share that maybe.
Creatively. So originally we were planning on just funding the triplex ourselves. We've got a private money lender, hard money lender, but private money terms, and then funding down payment with the HELOC that we have on our property. And then we were going to fund rehab via personal funds and HELOC funds. But then after we got the quad, we're like, okay, now we have to fund both projects. So we're looking at private money to assist with rehab funds and down payment assistance. So we'll just be on the hook for 10% down on each property.
Awesome. All right, great win, guys. So people are doing deals in this group. You guys go out there, take action. You have anything final to say, Will or Jay? Appreciate all you guys. Looking forward to see you guys next week on a question and answer webinar.
Yeah, guys, again, next week, we're going to do this the entire time. So we're going to have the entire time next week to kind of jump in. Want to give you guys a little preview of it this week, just so you can kind of come prepared. We're going to have an entire timeline next week where you can bring up anything that you need, anything that you want, or any good deeds that you want to kind of share. So again, kudos to you guys. The first part of networking is taking action and getting out there, and joining us for the webinar is a big step in that. And we'll see you guys next week on the webinar as well. And can't wait to connect. All right.
We'll take a picture. And I also want to say one last thing. There's a little bit of an echo. so someone can mute. Also one last thing, before doing this, sometimes mentality is really hard. Your mental health can be your best friend and your worst nightmare. So if I can wrap this up with networking, some people are, socially, if you want to do real estate, you really need to be social. You can't do real estate necessarily successfully without putting yourself out there, making connections. So if I can do one last thing, if you do want one-on-one conversations with Alex, if you don't want to put yourself, in this group chat with, like, what's your challenge? That's a really hard thing to verbalize that. So we are here to help you. If you don't want to, do this next week, I did put the link here. You can do 30 minutes up to an hour. Join our Facebook group. The vibe is the tribe, and we look forward to connecting. Take a picture if you guys can. Until next time, reach out to us. Look forward to talking more.
See you guys.
We'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you
Aloha.
guys. Have a nice day.
Go
Good
get
to
that
see y'all.
money.
Thank you guys.
Let's go. Thank you. Take care.
Good day.
Have a good one. Send us a
See you
DM or
guys.
message on Instagram if you guys want as well.